Chapter 32. Dam's Loss. The sewer lid is closed. On top of the lid, shoes are walking over it. The shoes are walking towards a pair of boots. The shoes stop near the pair of boots. "How is he?" the superior officer asks. Beck crosses his arms while looking at Dam. Dam is sitting on the side of the road. His head is looking down. Beck says, "He still didn't say anything. Are you going to put him and his friend away?" The superior officer responds, "After what you told me. No, they are still heroes. Just hope he gets out of here before I change my mind." "How's that punch?" Beck asks. Beck looks at the superior officer, while the superior office has a swollen cheek from his left face, as he says, "I'll live." Beck looks back at Dam and says, "I can't believe this happened to the person he cares about. Poor innocent woman." The superior officer says, "She doesn't seem that innocent." Beck asks, "What do you mean?" Sergeant Beck looks concerned. The superior officer is holding the key and walking towards the trunk while he starts narrating. "When I was searching the vehicle, I found the key in the ignition. I kept hearing something in the trunk. Sounds of music?" The superior officer puts the key in the keyhole of the trunk of Dam's vehicle. He narrates, "So, when I opened the trunk." When the superior officer opens the trunk, he sees Boiler smiling at him. He narrates further, "The lady had some things in the trunk." Boiler says, "Evening, officer." The superior officer narrates, "Like a person and a duffel bag." The superior officer looks at the duffel bag, then he looks back at Boiler. Then he asks, "Why are you tied up?" Boiler responds, "The person who was driving put me in here." The superior officer inquires, "What's in the bag?" Boiler responds, "I don't know. The bag was in here when I dozed off." The superior officer garbs the duffel bag and puts it on the ground next to the trunk. Boiler looks at him and asks, "Can you please let me out? I want to press charges to the person who put me in here." The superior officer says, "You don't have to. The person is dead." Boiler stays quiet for a moment before responding, How tragic." The superior officer squats down and opens the duffel bag and sees all the money. He exclaims, "Holy smokes!" Boiler asks, "What is it?" The superior officer responds, "This bag is full of money." Boiler looks down and says, "Oh, wow. That's interesting." Another officer comes up to the superior officer and informs, "Officer Hashes is still unstable." The superior officer instructs, "Put him inside the van and take him away as well." The other officer compliantly responds, "Yes, sir." The superior officer then instructs, "But first, free this man in the trunk. I got to put this in my cruiser for evidence." The other officer says, "Yes, sir." Boiler looks at them and says, "Now I remember. The bag is mine. I'll explain it to you." The other officer looks inside the trunk for a long time. Boiler looks shocked and smiles before saying, "Hi, how are you?" The other officer is still looking at Boiler, so Boiler decides to introduce himself as he says, "My name is..." Before he could say another word, the other officer says, "Boiler." Boiler shakes his head and is still smiling. Then Boiler says, "No, my name is Travis Argo. I'm tied up as you can see. So, what's your name?" The other officer responds curtly, "Number 3. The other officer has a red, burnt face. His right eye is swollen, while his left eye has red veins, and his forehead, cheeks, and nose are all badly red burnt. Skin from the officer's left cheek is peeling off. The skin lands on the tip of Boiler's nose. Boiler looks at the skin on his nose. Boiler says, "That's a strange name. Who came up with that name for you?" The victim officer quickly goes closer to Boiler's face and angrily says, "You named me that, you sick fuck. I have to leave my wife because I couldn't let her see me like this anymore." A tear comes out from the victim officer's left eye. Then he garbs Boiler from his jacket collar before saying, "You ruined my life as well as others. And finally, I got you all tied up and helpless." Boiler smiles at the victim officer. The superior officer is trying to pull the victim officer away from Boiler's jacket. The victim officer lets go of Boiler's jacket collar as the superior officer says, "Hey, hey, hey, easy." What's wrong? The superior officer looks at the victim officer, while the victim officer is sobbing as he says, "He is the one who did this to me." The superior officer looks at Boiler before asking, "Is this true?" Boiler looks at the superior officer before saying, "He shouldn't have owed me money." "I needed the money, you bastard," the victim officer says as he gets aggressive. The superior officer's left hand is holding the victim officer's chest. "That's why I did it, officer. He asked me for the money, and he didn't pay me on time. That's what he deserves," Boiler responds. The superior officer looks at the victim officer, then looks back at Boiler before he says, "Take him in and go with him. I'll talk to you later about this." Boiler says, "You don't have enough proof." The superior officer looks at the victim officer before saying, "Him. He's the proof." Boiler makes a sarcastic face at him before saying, "We shall see." The superior officer is about to grab Boiler before Boiler says, "Oh, pen?" Both officers look at Boiler, while Boiler smiles at the victim officer as he says, "You look much better than before. You're welcome." The victim officer is trying to attack Boiler, but the superior officer is garbing on the victim officer's shoulders from behind. The superior officer is next to Sergeant Beck while rubbing his head as he says, "God, what a night." Beck responds, "It sure is. So, who was the murderer?" Beck is looking at Dam again as he responds, "Some crazy fan pushed her. Fuck, I hate sports." Beck nods in agreement as he says, "Same here." The superior officer further says, "Yeah, the murderer didn't talk. He just has IDs here." Beck asks, "Really?" The superior officer says, "Yeah. I don't know if there's something wrong with this guy, or is he just pretending?" The superior officer looks at Dam for a while before he sighs and says, "I got to see if he's all right. But first, I'm going to talk to the driver and see if he's cooled down." Beck says, "Better thank him when we get out of here." "Yeah," the superior officer drawls before he gets up and starts walking away. "Hey, what's her name?" Beck asks from behind. The superior officer stops and turns his head around to look at Beck before responding, "She didn't have any identification. The fingerprint report will tell us who she is." Dam is still sitting on the sidewalk near the edge. His head is still cast downwards while he is looking at his burnt finger. Dam is glaring at the finger while Airdrie is standing next to him. After staying quiet for so long, Airdrie finally asks, "How you doing?" Dam doesn't respond. However, Airdrie says again, "I'm going to sit next to you, if that's okay." Airdrie starts sitting next to Dam's left side. While he is squatting down to sit on the edge of the sidewalk, his eyes are resting at Dam's figure, waiting for a reaction. Once he is settled, Airdrie pulls something out of his left pocket before saying, "I got Anne's phone." Airdrie is holding Anne's phone on his left hand as he says, "You should hang on to that." Airdrie puts the phone in Dam's left jacket pocket. Airdrie looks at the top left for a long time. Then he looks back at Dam's hair and says, "I'm sorry for what happened." "I truly am." Airdrie looks at his left before saying, "I don't know how it feels to lose someone in life, but someday I will." Airdrie then looks back at Dam and says, "I have a theory. I think I know her name. Boiler told me, but I don't know if it's true. Do you want to hear it?" Dam finally responds, "No, it's better not to know. Just not yet." Dam slowly moves his head to look at Airdrie before saying, "But thanks." Then Dam smiles at Airdrie and says, "My boy." Airdrie responds, "Don't mention it." Airdrie smiles back at Dam, whereas Dam taps Airdrie on his right shoulder as he says, "Sorry for pushing you." Airdrie responds, "It's okay. I'll do the same thing to you." "You better not," Dam says while giggling. The superior officer goes up to Dam and Airdrie as he says, "I see you're doing better than before." Dam responds, "I'll be all right, just got to take it slow." The superior officer says, "Well, you can take your vehicle and get out of here now while you still can. Good luck." Dam says, "Sorry for punching you." The superior officer leaves. Airdrie looks at Dam again and says, "We better go then." Dam nods and says, "Yeah." Dam and Airdrie are standing up from the edge of the sidewalk, and Airdrie says, "Thank goodness, he's not going to charge us for what we did." Dam says, "Oh God, I hope not." Dam and Airdrie are walking towards the vehicle, as Airdrie asks, "Where are we going now?" Dam looks at Airdrie before responding, "To take you home, my boy, and I'll leave it from there." Airdrie says, "Sure, but can drop me off at our previous work site? I got to pick up my vehicle there. I don't want my wife to see me without a vehicle." Dam nods and says, "Anything for you, my boy." "Thanks," Airdrie says. Then, Airdrie looks at Dam while they're still walking and asks, "Are you sure you're going to be all right?" Dam responds, "When a person you like gets killed by some crazy fan, you might think I have some kind of grudge. But I'll be all right." 3 police officers are on the floor. They're all twitching around and puking. Someone is wearing a pair of black army boots, walking in a long, bright hallway with white concrete walls. 2 police officers are charging in front of the mysterious person, while the mysterious person tasers the first officer on his left shoulder and then tasers him on the chest. The officer goes down instantaneously. The second officer takes off an earpiece from the person's right ear. His friend asks in a static voice, "How do you know that little bastard is mine?" The second officer pulls off the earpiece and drops it to the floor. The mysterious person quickly tasers the second officer on his face, and the second officer goes down instantaneously too. When the mysterious person is walking to the other side of the hallway, far away, behind him, there is a door. Behind the door, there are 5 more police officers. One of the officers is trying to open the door by pushing it. The officer is struggling to knock down the door. All the police officers are now pushing the door at the same time. A 6th officer is now behind the door holding a key. The 6th officer comes to the doorknob and starts to open the door. On the front door, there is a calculator stick, and a little wire is connected to the doorknob and on the calculator. The calculator is making a beeping noise when the doorknob is being twisted. When the door finally opens, the calculator noise quickly goes faster, and suddenly, the calculator blows up, and it breaks the entire door into pieces. All the officers from behind the door are on the floor, rolling around in pain. 3 more police officers are hiding. They see the mysterious person coming towards them. The 3 officers come out and attack the mysterious person, whereas the mysterious person pulls out stun baton from behind his back pocket vest. He zaps the first officer on the stomach. The officers go down on the floor on his front. The second officer rushes and gets zapped on the right side of his ribs. The officer goes down on the floor on his back. The third officer stops near the mysterious person. She looks scared and nervous and starts putting her hands up. The mysterious person zaps her as well. She falls down to the floor hard. The mysterious person then avoids the third officer on the floor. When the mysterious person goes up to another door, he sees 8 more police officers through a rectangle window door. They're all pointing their pistols at the window door. The mysterious person's left hand is slowly going behind his back and pulls out a small cloth bag from the pocket vest the mysterious person is wearing. When the door is opened, he throws the cloth bag at the police officers. All the police officers are screaming and cleaning their eyes, nose, and mouth. The mysterious person walks past all the police officers while they're all slowly going down to the floor. A police officer is lying on a wall near the door. He looks scared and nervous. The officer slowly looks behind the door. The mysterious person grabs him and pushes him at the back of the wall. The officer says in a panic, "Please, don't hurt me!" The mysterious person's left hand slowly goes to the officer's chest, while the officer is panicking as he says, "I have wife and beautiful daughter. Please don't." The mysterious person takes a key from inside the officer's pocket at his left breast. Then, he lets go of the officer and walks away from him. The mysterious person is gone. The officer pulls out his pistol from his right holster. When he's about to shoot, a dart comes and hits him at his forehead and makes him fall to the floor on his knees and head. The mysterious person opens a metal bar door by using the key. He is walking by empty cells from both sides. Towards the cells, there is a dark brown, middle-aged man sitting on a bed in a cell. The mysterious person stops and stares at the man. The man is looking down, smiling. Then, he slowly moves his head to look at the mysterious person. Hola, Vaquero says. He is still smiling as he says, ¿Qué está haciendo aquí, señor? The mysterious person doesn't say anything, so Vaquero says again, ¿Eres mi visitante? Porque estoy feliz de verte. The mysterious person still doesn't say anything. Then he starts to stretch out its arm and slowly goes to his holster and pulls out a small revolver. Vaquero looks at the revolver and asks, Amo los regalos. The mysterious person's left hand is tightly holding the small revolver and slowly moves the revolver straight up, aiming towards Vaquero's forehead. Yet, Vaquero still has a smile. Suddenly, red dots appear from the left side of the mysterious person's body. He slowly moves his head to the left and sees the ERT team gearing with helmet with ski mask and black shades tactical goggles, torso protected with body armor, knees and elbow pads, standing and aiming assault rifles at the mysterious person. Behind the mysterious person, there are more ERT men standing and aiming. Vaquero's eyes look at the right, then his eyes look at the mysterious person, and he says, ¿Es esto para esa perra que mato hoy? The mysterious person looks at Vaquero while still aiming at him, as he says, Conozco gente poderosa que me sacará de esto, pero moriré esta noche matándote, Vaquero. His left index finger slowly goes to the revolver trigger while he says, Esto es para Kitty Cat. Maldito speak! And the mysterious person pulls the trigger.